You been what have you been avoiding? What have you been avoiding? Okay, write this down. If you are avoiding the process, it's because you are still attached to the result. If you are avoiding the process, it's because you are attached to the result. This was really powerful. And I want to just speak on real quickly Bob's audio. I hope you guys took the time to go through that. I saw Eric and Marin share their takeaways in the chat. I appreciate you guys. Just to shout some of the stuff that you guys said. I know Eric, your takeaway was when you're prospecting and being in a conversation with your prospects, working on to work on creating an emotional attachment with your prospects and to share your unique story to build trust with them. That's powerful because your story, the pieces about yourself, is how you're going to be able to relate with them. It's how you're going to be able to build trust. I think Bob was the one that was saying it. I've heard this before too. I'm sure you guys have as well. But people don't trust. Like if you're just sharing all, like if you're trying to build up this image and it's all success, it's all wins, it's all like I'm killing it, whatever. Like people don't buy in and trust you with that. They want to see the realness, the rawness, the transparency. Like, and that doesn't need to be all these like finite details. You can share a little bit about like, hey, like I'm actually, working in this area. I actually haven't been able to quit my job yet. I'm on the path to be able, to being able to do that. I'm in progress. This is what I'm working on. Like you're in the process of that, and being able to share that in your way makes you stand out against everybody else that's just trying to show, hey, this is how I'm winning. Because I know when I hear that, I'm like, hype, that's not real. Like those are the radar things that go off in my mind. So great job with that takeaway, Eric. And then I know Marin, I'm just reading it off, listen to it yesterday. And my takeaway is everything is a conversation, which is absolutely right. Whether you are selling something or not, everything starts with a conversation. In a relationship, people need people and they need trust between each other. Absolutely. And this is literally just like, and I'm going to talk about it on today's call. Everything comes down to relationships. Everything in life, no matter if you're in a selling position at your job, you have a business, whatever it is, you are always in relationship with somebody, and learning how to build your influence and your trust is only going to obviously allow you to have, better leverage in whatever you're doing. I wanted to share my takeaway real quick. It's not about what, and if you still have a takeaway that you didn't share, post it in the chat. But one of my takeaways was it's not about what you sell. I think we get so caught up with the fact that, oh my God, IM Academy is amazing. And yes, it is. We all know it is. Like there's so much here. There's incredible opportunity at our hands, but it's not like your prospect doesn't know that. Your prospect doesn't care. It's not about what you sell, but the manner in which you sell it. It's how you sell it. It's your overall approach. And as we are becoming more and more transformational in our conversations, in our framework, in our approach, in our whatever, it's being intentional. It's really like, I know Bob says to like kind of slow down. It's not to slow down because he wants you to go slow. It's so that you can really hear and listen to what the other person is saying, because it's not about, I gotta, rush and, force something and say an answer just because it sounds good or because I think that that's what they want to hear. I'm slowing down so that I can really understand who I'm selling to. What are they saying to me? What is that person actually looking for? And why do they need it? Because until I have that information, I have nothing to sell you. It's like that whole example of somebody that, I can sell ice to an Eskimo. Why would you even do that? This doesn't make any sense. They don't need ice, right? So like, I'm not going to even go into what I do, what I offer or sell until I understand what they're actually looking for. And it's going to be so much more helpful in your conversations. That's why we created that I help statement, which I continue to go back, and I haven't refined it in a few weeks, but I did mine, and then I refined it because I was like, this doesn't sit well. And maybe you need to do that for yourself, because when you identify who you're talking to, you understand like who that person is. Bob said, like, I know my target audience better than they know themselves. And like, that's who he speaks to in his content, in his calls, in his conversations and whatever. So we're not going to do this today just for the sake of time, but this is something that I learned from being a part of Bob's program. I had a call this past week, They're called weekly accountability meetings. It was pretty cool. It was just an intimate setting, a few of us on there. And that's why I ask if you guys are not working to put your camera on, because everybody on that call had their camera on. And I'm gonna tell you right now, the energy was just different. It was different because it was different people. I don't know them, but it was different because everybody was engaged. Like the energy was just at a different level. And they play at a different level. And so if you want to play, like it's all the little things. I hate sounding like a broken record and redundant, but like all these little things add up and compound to make you the person that you're trying to become or not. But something that they do on those calls is in the beginning, they're like 30-minute calls, and everybody goes around, they share a win at the beginning of the call. And the win is something that they can control. It's not like, it could be like a result. Okay, yeah, I had 2%, 5% on my account. That's great. But it's like something that they can actually control. I can't control if I'm going to have a win in my trading account or not. I can only control if I manage my risk. Maybe that's a win, right? So they share a win in the beginning, and then they go around, or they pick somebody brings to the table. It's really first come, first serve. Hey, I have a conversation I want to go over, or hey, I have a piece of content that I want to go over. And in this case, it's not just building, it's, everything. So maybe somebody's like, hey, I have a chart I want to go over, or I have a trade that I took that I want to talk about, or maybe I messed up on here, or like whatever. And they do that. They do one and one. It's not like everybody gets to go. It's like first come, first serve, bring it to the table. And obviously as it continues to grow, like we can work with that. And then at the end, they set an action-oriented goal, a goal-oriented action, sorry. And basically everybody sets their action for the week. And so I set mine of basically putting out 2 pieces of content from now until then, which I actually have not done yet. So that is my action-oriented goal by Wednesday when we do our meetings every week. So if we were to do a Friday night call with everybody, you can literally bring whatever you want to the table. The intention leaving the call is to set a goal-oriented action of what you're going to do, and then we review it on the call together. So I wanted to put that out there because I wanted to start to implement that, to actually give people a place to go over that stuff, because I know that this is going to be super helpful for me, especially because I haven't posted a piece of content in literally almost a month. I think today is a month that I haven't done that. And so I feel like I've had like this mental block of like, I don't know, I'm just in my head about it, which I shouldn't be, because I have so much value to bring to the table, and so do you. And we just tend to be in our head about stuff. So I want to give you guys a reminder as we go into the call and everything. What have you been avoiding? What have you been avoiding? If you are avoiding the process, it's because you are still attached to the result. And I want to give a reminder. I don't know where exactly you guys are at, how you feel about, what you're doing here, where the temperature is, but I'm hoping by the end of the call, you can confront that. I don't need to necessarily know that, but you should know that for yourself and be able to address it, be able to confront it. And I want to give you guys a reminder, this is a self-development journey. I know we know that, right? We know that, we've heard that before. We get that, but do we really know that in our day-to-day? This is a self-development journey. And when you understand that this is just a journey of you as a person making progress and growing, like you can give yourself, yes, some grace, but not enough to like let yourself off the hook of like, okay, yeah, this is a long game. I don't need to take care of the things that I need to do tonight. I'll just do it tomorrow. That's not the type of grace that I'm giving you. It's giving yourself grace and not judging yourself, not shaming yourself because you're not where you think you should be or want to be, because you're still a work in progress. But at the same time, it's like I can't allow myself to not do the work because of life or how I feel. Like life is tough. Like I'm pretty sure, type a 1 in the chat, you guys have experienced something in the last year that has literally made you question why you do what you do, has brought you pain that is just like, I don't understand. I literally don't know how I got here. I know I can say that. And like kind of experiencing it over the last, even like month right now, like how do we get here? And just understanding the process that you're in. But as we're on this self-development journey, we also have to set goals. Like we have to set goals too. Like we don't just consume information, show up to these things and hope for the best. Like we have to set specific, measurable, time-based, achievement, relevant based goals. Okay, time-bound based goals. Like we have to set goals for ourselves. Like we still are moving towards something, and that target is obviously always moving. Or we hit somewhere and we create a new support for ourselves. Okay, we create a new foundation for yourself. But we need to start there. And I'm going to ask you guys at the end, what's your next goal? And this could be anything. But I want to start off with this question for you. How it's rhetorical, but ask it to yourself. Leaving this call, how is your relationship with your money? How is your relationship with your finances, with trading, with risk, with winning, with losing, with rejection? How is your relationship with building this business? And most importantly, what this all comes down to is how is your relationship with yourself? Okay, somebody asked me the last night in a conversation, if I ever have people that want to trade but get so anxious about the risk that they either lose or they just miss the trade altogether, they don't take the trade, and they end up getting frustrated and quitting as a result. And I was like, yes, it happens like pretty often. And that's not a cut on, oh, Abby's a bad leader, or you on this call are not a great leader because somebody quits your business or they quit trading. That has nothing, no, I totally detached myself from that, because anytime somebody would quit my business or they wouldn't see certain success, I would make that my identity, and that would consume me and think and it would affect my self-esteem and how I saw myself as a leader. But I don't look at that anymore. Anyways, the reason why I bring this question up is I said, yeah, it happens all the time. But here's the thing, going back to relationships, in this process, I said, for those that don't have a clear understanding of what it takes to really succeed in trading, and specifically for those that are on this journey with trading, whether they've been here for a while or not, for those that don't have a clear understanding of what it takes in trading, it's because they're so result oriented, they can't get they can't get past that. And that's why I bring up at the beginning, a lot of times we end up not creating the results that we want, the success that we want, the progress that we want, the change that we want, is because we're still so fixated on the result. And we don't, anytime I go a day or a period of time, whatever, when I don't do the work, it's because I'm so fixated with the result. I'm so consumed by the outcome instead of being process focused. And what it comes down to, trading and building this business are very similar in a lot of different ways, because it comes down to our mentality. Success in trading comes down to a healthy relationship with both winning and losing. If you listen to any of the Go Live educators, they're going to tell you that. Mike Navarrete said that on one of his sessions. Success in trading comes down to a healthy relationship with both winning and losing. And it's very similar to building this business. Most people are so wrapped up with rejection, with the rejection from other people and what other people will think of them, that they don't even make the effort to do anything long enough to actually see a change in themselves. See a change in themselves, not externally change, to see a change in themselves. They don't even make the effort long enough to see a change in themselves. If you're wondering where your results are, ask yourself, do you see the necessary change in yourself yet for what you're looking for where you want to go? What proof do you have? What evidence do you have that shows that? Okay, success here comes down to your relationship with rejection, winning and losing. Okay, will you continue to take action even when you think, why even bother? Even when that thought crosses your mind, why even bother? I don't feel like it. It's not convenient for me right now. I'm comfortable. Will you continue to take action? We posted in the chat yesterday, consistency outweighs any finish line, any achievement, any destination, any greatest moment. Consistency outweighs any of that. Because so many times in trading, in this process, in this business, in this whatever, people are so consumed by the end result. And that can be a great driving factor if that's what drives you, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, life is going to happen, and that end result, that that tangible, physical, like fleeting thing, it's like motivation is not going to, that's not your concrete foundation. So I want you to look at your perspective, shift your perspective. I said this in the beginning, you are already on the path. You are already on the path. The individual I spoke with last night that asked that question, tons of conversations I've had this week, those individuals unfortunately are not on a path at all. You are on the path. You are way ahead of so many people who are just literally going nowhere. And I'm sharing all of this context with you in this perspective right now because this is oftentimes why we don't do what we need to do. Why we're avoiding doing the work is because of the way that we look at ourselves. We don't believe that we're qualified. We don't believe that we can show up in a way that can actually make a difference, that can actually create change, that can actually make an impact. You absolutely can, because it's not about, feel like I have hair in my face. It's not about what your end result looks like or what you've done or anything like that. Like, network marketing is different in that way. And really a lot of the things that we can do, what you're qualified here to do, and I want you to just like ingrain this in yourself, is the fact that you are already on the path. A lot of the conversations that you're going to have with people, they're just not on the track. They're just not, they just don't have guidance yet. They don't have direction yet. That's what you give. And you can leverage somebody like myself or whatever to help them make that decision to get started. The ball doesn't need to be in your court the entire time. You can pass the ball. I heard somebody say the other day on a video I was watching, and they were basically saying like, you don't need to be Miss Independent. It was more like a women related video, but I think this can apply to anybody. In this case, is we are taught in this society, like, independence is a great thing. And in certain areas it is. But at the same time, what she was saying is you can go so much further when you can just admit your weaknesses, your flaws, where maybe you aren't like, where maybe you don't have strengths. Because what you do is you open up the door to have other people help you, to lean on somebody, to ask for help, and create community, create connections. Anyways, I forget where I was going with that, but like, I think sometimes we're so like, we don't reach out for help sometimes because we think that we have to have it all together. I raise my hand real high, like I feel like that's me sometimes. But at the end of the day, like, that's not how you get to where you want to go. It's not by being Miss or Mr. Independent all the time. It's, I need help. I don't have all the answers. A great example is last night. We didn't get home till like 12:30, 1 a.m. I am tired. And I was like, oh my God, we had this call in the morning. We were with my sister last night. She's going to this rave festival, whatever it's called. And like literally on Monday, and she has a business. And this is the last thing I'm going to share with you guys. This is actually a point I wanted to bring up. She needed help, and she made 28. I promise you, I have some really good points with this. She really inspired me last night. So she has 28 outfits that she made in like 3 weeks. She was like, I've never done this before. And she's going to this festival for like a week, and she's going to like try to sell her outfits. And so basically we were there trying to help her do the last bit of it. And we were like, literally, we weren't sewing, but we were doing some stuff for like 6 hours last night, just standing. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like insane. You do this all the time. So anyways, last night we were helping her. And I realized a couple things from watching her that I think we can apply here. She has her own business. We have a network marketing business. She has a traditional, self-employed type of business. Okay. One thing that I learned from watching her is she is unconsciously competent in what she does. I was tying these strings on her outfits, and it literally took me, I still don't know how to do it. Alex figured it out. My mom knows how to do it. I literally was struggling so hard tying these strings. She did it like it was nothing. And I literally was watching her over and over again. I was like, I don't know how to do that yet. I don't know. I understand. She's become so unconsciously competent in what she does because of the amount of repetition and practice. My question for you leading into that is, what have you done long enough, regardless of how you feel, to become unconsciously competent? There's so many opportunities to grow here, skills to learn, mindset shifts to make. What have you done long enough, regardless of how you feel? I know that there's something, whatever it is, I want you to write it down after this call to become unconsciously competent. And then on the other side, write down some things that you should be on the path to doing that, but maybe you aren't there yet. Write that down. Okay. She has done so many reps. She's in there. Like we talk about this on the cash flow quadrant, the self-employed, they're working like, I don't know, 80 plus hours a week. She's probably put in 100 plus hours a week in the last month or so. It's ridiculous. We don't need to do that. But there's a reason why she got so good at what she does, is because she condensed time. I'm not saying you need to put in 100 hours a week, but I am saying to check your work, check yourself, because we know that we can go places if we actually take the time to do that. So the other thing that I learned from her is she is sold out on what she does. She's sold out. She's literally so bought into what she does. She thinks differently about herself. She thinks differently about what she offers and the value that she brings to the table. Like, sure, she has doubts, but she doesn't question that. She doesn't question herself in like the value that she brings to the table. I like, for example, last night she was saying, I hope I sell some of these or whatever. And I was like, Marita, people are gonna buy into you first. Like, yeah, they're gonna see your outfits and they're like killer, like, oh man, like these are really dope. But I was like, they're gonna buy into you. And same thing on this call for you guys, is the person that you're talking to, they're gonna buy into you first, not what you offer, not how great the video is, not how amazing, the comp plan or the trade that you took last week. They're gonna buy into you and who you are. And that's what's gonna help to build trust and build that relationship. But something that I took away from the fact that she's sold out on what she does is she still does the work anyways. She's still like, because she's so bought in to what she's doing and her vision of where she's going and the goals that she has set for herself, she does the work regardless anyways. And the other thing is, she doesn't cut corners. As I was helping her last night, I wasn't mine. So like, I couldn't just like, sometimes if you're at your job or whatever, maybe you don't do whatever you're doing to the fullest, or maybe you are a little lazy with whatever it is. Like, I was watching her, like, she does not cut corners on the work that she does. And I couldn't be lazy with it either. I was like, this has her name on it. Because it has her name on it, like, I can't be lazy with it. And this all goes, I hope that you guys can see where I'm taking this. This all goes back to what we're doing here. Are you cutting corners? Or maybe you have a little apathy in your day-to-day with building this business. Like, what does that look like for you? Are you sold out on what we're actually doing here and where this can actually take you if you treat it like an actual business? And this was a big thing last night. Is I asked her, I was like, what if you don't finish your goal? She had a goal of how many outfits that she wanted to make. And I said, what if you don't finish your goal by Saturday? And she said, with straight face, non-negotiable, I have no other option. They will be done by Saturday. And it just showed me a different mentality, and honestly kind of showed me like, damn, Abby, like, why don't you have that mentality with your business sometimes? Why don't you look at what you're doing like that? And maybe you could say on this call, well, that's her business and this is not mine. Whatever you tell yourself, that's true. Like, take ownership. She's taken ownership of this. Have you taken ownership of what you have? Are we still avoiding the work because we're so consumed with the outcome that we haven't even taken the time to realize, hey, the process is what gets us the outcome in the first place? So are you sold out on where this can take you if you treat it like an actual business? And if you are questioning if you are or not, go back to that question. What proof do you have that shows that you are or not? And I love that question because it takes out the bias. It takes out the personal attachment, because it's not about if I like how I feel about it. It's, is it or is it not? Do I or do I not? And when we can start to remove the attachment to the things that we're doing in our life that affect us on a negative scale, we can start to really make progress with ourselves. So I want to encourage you guys, as we wrap up this call, to get back to your why. get back to that fire, get back to that desire. And I know some of you guys are like, I've never left, or I have that fire right now. Like I'm doing really well, like I'm making progress, I'm staying consistent. And maybe this call was just a reminder for you. Maybe that this call was just a lighter under what you already have. And some of you guys maybe are on this call and you're like, okay, yeah, this is exactly what I needed to hear because of where I'm at. I want you guys to get back to your why. Why did you originally get started here? That moment that you said yes. Why? What was your reason? What was your reason to learn how to trade? Once you understood the vision, what does that look like? What was your reason to like say, yes, I do actually want to build this business? Write that down, because those are the things in your conversations that is going to set you apart. It's going to separate you, not even from just like everybody else, but just separate you from the things that you don't need to be talking about. It's not what you do, it's your approach, it's your framework, it's your mentality, it's how you're selling this. And it all starts with understanding the person that you're speaking with, but you don't get there until you understand why you got started, who you are, because the person that you're speaking to, your target audience, is literally just like you. So I'm going to post the action steps in the chat after this call. But it's basically going to be get back to your reasons, get back to why you got started, write that down, make it plain, make it clear, specific, know that reason. And I want you guys to write down, what is your next goal? This could be any goal. And I'm not like just talking about the business. Like you don't need to say platinum 150, platinum 6, platinum 1, whatever. I'm talking about your next goal. My next goal is we are going on a trip in June. Like that is my next goal. And what I'm doing is to help prepare for that goal. So whatever it is for you, I'm not talking about what you're going to do in a year or a decade. What is the next thing that you have lined up for yourself, or you want to have lined up for yourself that you want to hit? It could be something small. It could be, I want to, be able to buy something because I did XYZ. Like, what is that next goal look like for you? And set a date on it. It's okay if you don't hit it, but if we don't set a date on something, it doesn't create any, like, I don't want to say pressure, that's not the right word, but it doesn't create any urgency is what I'm trying to say. If you just kind of have goals out there with no date, like, when are we going to get this done? Miranda, my sister, had a date of Saturday to get all of her stuff done. She's going to finish tonight, like non-negotiable. It's done. She set that for herself. No other option. How are you treating your business that you have here? So I'm going to post the action steps in the chat, guys. I want to encourage you to really take the time after this call to just update yourself. These calls don't need to be like, let me just say it like this. I think sometimes we can get so caught up of like, oh man, like this is where I'm at. And we like just kind of have this self-defeating, self-discouraging talk with ourselves. And it doesn't need to be like that. This is a journey. This is a process. This is a long-term game. And yes, I can give myself grace at the same time of like, I'm learning, I'm building myself, I'm growing. Maybe I'm not there yet. I'm not, at this stage of my life or whatever. But it's not an excuse to say, well, I have all the time in the world, I can just do it tomorrow. What are you avoiding? What work are you avoiding? What thoughts are you avoiding? What feelings are you not paying attention to? Okay, everything like if you want to get real, like if you want to get really real, get real with the feelings that you're having about whatever it is that's going on in your life. Dig into it. Like that's how you're going to grow. You seek the truth. So I love you guys. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your presence and your attention. We're going to be back here next week. I want to encourage you, if you can be on the Friday night calls, get on there and bring a conversation. Bring a trade that you took, bring a chart, bring a piece of content that you're working on, bring something to the table, and maybe you can add value in some way, shape, or form, because it's only going to help you get outside your comfort zone and grow, and obviously build a culture that your future team will want to be a part of. So I love you guys. I appreciate you, and I'll talk with y'all later.